get here today. It took us 40 minutes, half hour, but it was so beautiful. The snow that was on the trees, the sunlight that was glistening. So I'd like us just to take a moment and just enjoy that view. Thank you. Come in, be among us. To all who are yearning for community, come in, be among us. To all who are just getting started, to all who long to go deeper, to all with tender places needing care, come in, be among us. To the ones who have healed and have come to give and who have cared to give, for those who are curious and hungry to learn, for those who know that they have something to teach, come in, be among us. For those who are just beginning to suspect that they might nurture others becoming, to the young and the old, the innocent and the jaded, the fresh of mind and the deeply steeped, there is room here for each and every one. Come in, be among us. My name is Sharon Sauter, and I'm a member of the Sunday Service Committee. Welcome to People's Church. Whether you are on Zoom or in person, we are happy you are here with us today.
At this time, I invite you to rise and body your spirit to sing our opening song together.
We have some announcements for today. Please join us after the service for today for our art wall reception honoring Tracy Kleinstecker. It's right here in the Commons. And please be sure to take a closer look at these beautiful, beautiful art. The orientation for guardians and parents for our 5th and 6th grade OWL Comprehension Sexuality Education class starts after the service today in room 19. There will be lunch and childcare provided. And the church auction kicks off 2 weeks from today. If you have an event, experience, or item you'd like to offer up for bid, you can submit it online, and the link to the form is on the website or in the weekly emails, or you may also contact Melissa. They're also looking for some baked goods for the kickoff in 2 weeks. So if you could make some cookies, little breads, anything like that, you can bring them that morning on February 4th, or contact Melissa to have early drop-off. And then the bidding will start after the service on the 4th and will run for 3 weeks. We will now light the chalice. If you're on Zoom, please type in the chat box where you are located. And Reagan, would you like to come up and light our chalice today? we will be renewed. We come together with our tired minds and bodies, with our confusion and questions, our uncertainties and our fears. We come together with our hopes, with our past and our ideas, our passions and our faith. We come together bringing all of who we are, trusting that in gathering we will be renewed, and that together we can create the world we long for. We have chalices lit on Zoom.
Yes. In addition to our chalice lit in this room, there is a chalice lit on Munson Lake near Grand Junction, in Lansing, Michigan, at Meta Lodge on Gull Road, 41.5 Street, 41st.5 Street, I don't know, in Grand Rapids, and on Cherry Street. It is good to be together in all of our different ways. And in Christine's home.
I'd like to invite the children or anybody who would like to come up front for a story to join me. It's so good to see you all here this morning. I want to tell you one of my favorite stories from the Chibcha people. It's about a goddess named Uitaka. And in long ago, in ancient times in a village, the people lived very closely to their goddess, Uitaka. They lived very close to the earth and in connection and community with one another. And they lived a peaceful, joyful existence. And the goddess Uitaka was the goddess of pleasure and dancing and music and joy. So they would be working on something and someone would say, Uitaka, come with your bananas and your bangles and let us dance and sing with the music. And they would all stop whatever they were doing and they would dance and they would sing and she would spin in the center. And she had bangles in her long, dark braids, and they would fly out as she would spin around and dance in the center of the circle, and the people would dance with joy. And they lived with the feeling under their skins. Everything that they made for beauty as well as practicality. And so they decorated everything with all the beautiful colors of the earth around them, their baskets and their walls and their tents and their bowls, everything. Their blankets were woven and with great time and care. And they lived like that for a really long time until one day a stranger came to their village. He was a tall, dark man named Bochika. And he came in and people were quite enamored with him and what he had to say, but he talked very different. He had a different way of thinking and being than the people in the village. And so when he would say, well, why are you wasting time making all this beautiful artwork on your bowls and your baskets and your blankets? If you worked faster, you could make more things to buy and sell to the next village. What is buy and sell, they said. Why would we need to do that? Well, if you have some things now, you could make money and you could buy even more things. What would we need more things for? We have enough right now. Well, he brought with him something that was small and round, and it looked a lot like an egg to the people, but what it was a clock. And he explained to them what all the numbers and the dials meant. And he says, with this clock, we could make more things to buy and sell. And they're like, we do not know what you are talking about, Bochika. We are living just fine. But they let him stay in their village. And he made his home there. But every time that they would call for the goddess Uitaka, and they would sing and they would dance, with the feeling under their skins, he would mutter, "Oh, wasting all this time on music when we could be working more, making more things to buy and sell." But for a long time, the people ignored him until eventually they started to listen to Bochica. They were listening to what he was saying, and they were starting to forget about the goddess Witaka and what she brought. Until finally, one day, the people voted Bochica as their leader. That was the saddest day for Witaka, and at that moment, she turned into an owl and said, "Hoo!" And she flew into that clock that looked like an egg, and she disappeared from the people, and only one little girl saw her. And she said, Mom, Witaka, she just turned into an owl and flew into that egg." "Ah, quiet, honey, that's not an egg. That's Bochica's clock. He's going to be a fine, fine leader. He's going to help us make more things to buy and sell." And she dismissed her daughter. Well, they didn't know quite how the clock was going to make more things to buy and sell, but they soon found out, for the clock told Bochica what time it was, and then Bochica told the people, "It is time to get up now. It is time to go to work now. It is time to eat lunch now. It is time to stop working now. Now it is time for you to sleep." And no longer could the people sleep when they were tired, eat when they were hungry, dance when they needed a dance break, or make beautiful artwork, because Bochica said, "Why are you wasting time on that wall? We're painting beautiful pictures on it. Isn't it lovely? Well, you could be making more things to buy and sell. It's fine the way it is. Just keep moving on, keep working, keep working." And the people listened to Bochica for a long time. And the only person that really remembered Witaka was that little girl. And she grew up, and she told her little girl what she saw about that goddess turning into an owl and flying into that clock. And she told her little girl, and by this time, Bochica was very old, and even he got tired. And one day, he took his clock and he sat down under the shade of the tree in the afternoon and laid down and fell asleep and took a nap and set his clock down beside him. And a little girl saw that clock and went over to check it out. And wouldn't you know, it was the same little girl whose mom and grandma had told her about Witaka turning into an owl and flying into the clock. And she picked it up, but she slipped and it dropped and it cracked and it broke into a million pieces. And right then, Witaka flew out of the egg that was a clock. "Ooh," she said. "Oh, Witaka," said the little girl. And she remembered the chant that the people said, come with your bananas and your bangles in your braids. Come with your seed gourds, shaking. Bring your music and dance and spin." And Witaka spun and spun and spun, and she spun back from an owl into the beautiful woman that she was, and her long, dark braids with the bangles in them stood straight out as she spun around in joy. And Bochica woke up. "Oh, what's going on here?" he said. "Stop all this dancing and singing. Get back to work, get back to work. We need to be making more things to buy and sell." But at this point, enough people remembered Witaka and the pace of life that she brought when they lived with the feeling under their skins, singing and dancing with joy, flowing, sleeping when they were tired and eating when they were hungry, and making beautiful things and the products that they made. And they ignored Bochica. They were too busy singing and dancing and living once again with the feeling under their skins. And they never forgot their goddess Witaka again, because they wanted to continue to live like that. So with that, you can go off to your class, and I hope you live all day with the feelings under your skin.
I thought I knew.
People's Church is a generous church in so many ways. This past week, I had the opportunity to work with two fellow church members, Mary and Marty, and we reorganized two of the classrooms. I appreciated the way when I said, "Could you come?" they were generous with their time, and they came. I also put out a call for gently used preschool supplies, and several church members were generous and answered the call, so we had new things to put into those classrooms. Finally, generosity was shown by Melissa in helping us print the pictures for organizing, but she also shared that she had a laminator. And if you're an elementary teacher like myself, you know how exciting and important a laminator is. So that saved us a lot of time, because otherwise I was taking 3x5 cards and tape, and we were doing it that way. So I am so just thankful for the generosity from the people that helped and the people that donated. We will now take the offering, and please continue to be the generous people that we know you are. Please join me in giving thanks for all that sustains us. From the countless gifts we each have been given, gifts of life and love and sustenance, we bring these small portions to share in the works of love, which none of us can accomplish alone. The next reading is taken from Rest is Resistant from Tricia Hersey. The question itself stems from a white supremacist mindset that refuses to accept this truth. Black liberation is a balm for all humanity, and this message is for all those suffering from the ways of white supremacy and capitalism. Everyone on the planet, including the planet itself, is indeed suffering from these two systems. The way in which this suffering manifests for each group is unique to their history. White people have had their humanity stripped from them via white supremacy. They are spiritually deficient and blinded by the idea that they are superior to other divine human beings. The lineage of terror, violence, enslavement resides in those bodies and hearts. Also, what does it help me to live in a world where I am the only one who is liberated from the grips of grind culture? I will still have to engage and collaborate with those still bound up and moving from a place of fear and urgency. My freedom from grind culture is intimately tied up in the healing and liberation of all those around me. Community care and a full communal unraveling is the ultimate goal for any justice work, because without this, we will be left vulnerable to the lie of toxic individualism. Our justice leaders have been screaming this from the rooftops for centuries, and yet our toxic individualism, residing in an exhausted, brainwashed mind, continues to ignore this life-giving wisdom. We are all connected by virtue of living in the same communities, working in shared office spaces, engaging with each other in schools, on streets, and as we travel. The rigid idea that justice work centering Blackness, born from a lens of Black liberation, is only for Black people is limiting and false. Black liberation is a global shift for an entire world bamboozled by the lies of capitalism and white supremacy. The belief that what one does and experiences does not affect everyone around them is a myth and disease that America severely suffers from.
The life slow and precious. It is a truth, though it may not always feel like one, that you are worth more than the things you do. That your being, a worthy human being, lives in a different domain than all of your failures, but also the collected sum of your successes. Combining your worth with your results is something like using a sheet music for Beethoven's Fifth Symphony to make an apple pie or build a doghouse. There is no way for the question to resolve in a final answer. By virtue of being alive, you matter. You cannot be more deserving of dignity, of respect, of love. Sometimes people make mistakes, but even that cannot change. You are meant to be festooned with celebration of your humanity. If your progress is slow, your movement small, remember that you don't have to compete for compassion. You don't have to compare what you can observe of another's life to make sure that you measure up. You are definitely yourself. What is slow is also valuable. Some of the oldest seeds ever sprouted are narrow-leafed campion that grew even though the seeds were 32,000 years old, more or less. They had to survive to be able to bloom. Encased in ice, thawed, and brought to life, the most important thing is that you make it. No matter how imperceptible the movement, how long it takes to reach the best version of who you are meant to be. You are irreplaceable. You are meant to live.
I invite you to join me in song from your seats.
May I be well.
I am one of those people who really appreciates a great daily inspiration book or daily journal with prompts. So while I was preparing for my sabbatical that began a year ago, I was excited to find this book by Adrienne Marie Brown and Sonia Renee Taylor entitled The Journal of Radical Permission, a daily guide for following your soul's calling. While it contains brief introductions and overviews, it's mostly poignant questions and writing prompts. And I started it on January 1st, quite certain I would be very clear about my soul's calling in no time at all, as I went through the book every day and I answered the questions and wrote them out in the journal. So it just so happened that the first section of the book did not ask intellectual or spiritual or philosophical questions, which I'm really great at answering. Those are some of my strengths. Instead, they were somatic. My tendency is to reside way more in my head than in my body. And so it took me a long time to sit with these questions, seeking some sort of insight, some sort of answer. Sometimes it took days, other prompts took weeks, some took months. The questions included things like, what in your body longs for radical permission? Where in my body do I feel resistance to change? Where in my body am I holding these patterns of resistance? Where can I offer myself more grace, and how can I partner with my body to do this? And the hardest question for me was, what would it feel like to let my body be enough just as it is? I'm still pondering that one. It prompted me to learn more about somatic practices, to help me connect more mindfully with my body, to gain more body wisdom. I added both somatic practices and self-compassion practices into my daily morning spiritual practices of mindfulness and meditation to help me ground and center so I could more easily identify trauma that I held in my body and help move it through. I began my sabbatical with the goals of examining and healing the places within my own self that keep me hustling for my worth. The places in me where I feel like I am not good enough or I am too much. Feeling completely exhausted and burned out as I began my sabbatical, I wanted to root out the places in me that push me to constantly, consistently overfunction, overwork beyond my capacity. Thus, I began a deep delve into childhood traumas, life traumas, trying to heal, seek out, and heal those wounded places within me that negatively impact my current well-being and flourishing in the world. In the midst of this deep healing delve, my dad entered home hospice care. He was bedbound at home with my mom and I caring for him, and I spent every afternoon for a month at his bedside, providing care and support for him and my mom. And while it was a great privilege to be able to be there for them every day and support them in this way, it was a very difficult time for many reasons, many ways. There is some irony that so much of the childhood trauma in which I was engaged in doing healing work stemmed from my relationship with my dad. In many ways, my dad was my biggest supporter, and he was also my greatest critic. He was extremely hard on me. As his body weakened to the point where I had to help him turn over in bed, I tried to be there for him at the end of his life with the kind of kindness and compassion in the way that I wish he could have been there for me at the beginning of mine. Though always seeming to want the best for me, he acted often, too often, out of fear, and he used shame and criticism and judgment to try to change and shape me to be the way he wanted me to be, to do the things he thought I should be doing. He focused attention on my diet and my food choices my whole life up until the last day of which he was conscious, always encouraging me, pushing me to be different, to do more. The core wound of inadequacy runs deep throughout my veins. I internalize that shaming and critical voice, and it constantly pushes me to do more, be more. The ingrained messages of the Protestant work ethic communicated through my family, through society at large, it informs my inner driver, which is relentless. On so many levels, I recognize that my self-worth is not determined by my productivity. But unraveling that message fully in the essence of my being has proved so difficult. In the book, Rest is Resistance, that Sharon read out of earlier, the brilliant author, Tricia Hersey, says, our everyday behaviors and false beliefs about productivity drive us into behaving like robotic machines. The way we hold ourselves and others to the lie of urgency is white supremacy culture. And we will never be able to rest or be liberated from oppression while we are honoring and aligning with it. Liberation and oppression cannot occupy the same space. Liberation and oppression cannot occupy the same space. It is not possible. Hersey reiterates throughout the book the enormous harm caused by grind culture to everyone, and especially to people of color. She defines grind culture as the combination of capitalism and white supremacy culture. Both systems tend to benefit a few at the expense of the many. She states that exhaustion and sleep deprivation are social justice issues and racial justice issues. Personally, my experience of grind culture is absolutely excruciating. When I push myself through exhaustion in an effort to do all the things that I feel like I need to do, honestly, I feel like I am enduring my life. Always holding on, always waiting for that moment, that time just around the corner when I'm not going to feel quite so rushed, quite so tired and overwhelmed. As soon as this is over, it's going to get better. Then I'm going to have more space. It's going to be okay. I just have to get through this year after year after year. Hersey indicates that grind culture has normalized pushing our bodies to the brink of destruction. We are praised and rewarded for ignoring our body's needs for rest, for care, and for repair. Slowing down, she says, is an essential step toward liberation. When I am rushing and pushing myself to do all the things, I am perpetuating grind culture. I am causing harm to myself and others by contributing to these systems of oppression. When she says rest is resistance, she explains that her definition of rest is anything that reconnects our minds with our bodies. That when we slow down, rest, and reconnect, that we are resisting grind culture that worships productivity and profits over all else. Living sustainably, taking care of ourselves and others, resists systems of oppression. There's a very powerful poem by Etna O'Danner from the book I read from earlier called Incantations for Rest. That is very long, and last week I wrote an entire sermon based on the stanzas of this poem, but unfortunately we would be here until sunset if I was to share the whole thing, so I had to do a little discernment. This poem is called A Spell for Heroes and Warriors, and I read it out loud every day for months and months over my sabbatical. If I saw you at any point last spring or summer, chances are I read it out loud to you because I was trying to use it to decolonize my own brain, my own mind, my own life, and it expressed things in ways, helped me to see and understand things in ways that were incredibly powerful. So, I'm just only going to share a very short excerpt with you today. She says, I slow down. I call on discernment to examine the costs of speed to ask, who gets left behind when I surge ahead? Who gets left behind when I surge ahead? I give myself over to my deepest senses to locate stories and histories beyond my own and feel for the connections between us. I cast away white supremacy culture. You will not prosper here. You will burn away when confronted by wisdom and commitment. I call on the wisdom and the commitment of my people, known and unknown. The wisdom our communities hold in all of its facets, reflections, and shadows will banish the illusions of efficiency as being best for everyone. The wisdom our communities hold in all of its shadows and facets and reflections will banish the illusions of efficiency as being best for everyone, of the clock being the same as time, of the inconvenience of accountability and justice. We cast out the quiet exclusion of our siblings. Together, we grow toward liberation at the speed of care. Together, we grow toward liberation at the speed of care. Now, prior to reading this, I had honestly never considered who has been left behind as I have surged ahead my entire life. My tendency has always been towards speed. I think fast, I talk fast, I move fast. I can be a powerhouse of efficiency. Up until recently, I perceived that as all a positive. Living in this culture that worships speed, efficiency, and productivity, it is easy to believe that it is true. It wasn't until I hit perimenopause 8 or 9 years ago when I struggled with so much brain fog and other challenges that I realized how fast I actually functioned and processed things. It wasn't until I lost it that I was really able to appreciate what I had. So immediately began finding adaptations to try and function at the same caliber and capacity. Keeping notes, making lists for all the things I could no longer remember. This past year during my sabbatical, I more deeply realized that going as fast as possible to do all the things, all the time, in high functioning efficiency is really not the best way of being in the world. One of the things that's become apparent as I have aged and gotten older is that I have gotten slower in everything, including taking in and processing information, making decisions, remembering where I filed things, where I put something down, how much time do I spend looking for what it was I just sat down. I need more time to decompress my nervous system and feel rested on a daily basis. Ingrained in a society and a family that prizes efficiency and productivity, this has brought me face to face with so much shame. I have spent so much time and energy over this past year trying to address and work through this shame of moving slower, of not being as quick and as fast and as efficient, and needing more time to do everything. One of the richest helpful things that I had was reading, working with the author Kristen Neff and her book, Self-Compassion and Fierce Self-Compassion. It has been very helpful to lower the weapons of self-flagellation that I am constantly trying to get myself to go faster and do more. To begin to regard myself in a gentler way, with kindness. In the poem, Danner asks, who gets left behind when I surge ahead? The truth of the matter is that people like current me would be left behind who process things slower when people like past me took the lead. That was a humbling realization. And yet, as I have lost speed, I have gained enormous depth and insight and wisdom. I'm so much more skilled in interacting with people and dealing with situations than when I was younger and faster. And yet, when I need to ask doctors and mechanics to explain things to me again because it takes me longer to understand what they are saying to me, I notice that I feel embarrassed. I mentioned to a friend that it felt like the negative stereotype of a bumbling old lady that can't quite figure out what's going on. She wisely reframed that perspective and suggested that I recognize my current slower pace of functioning as a superpower rather than as a deficit. For now, I can fully recognize the illusion of efficiency as being best for everyone. Of the fact that the clock is not the same as time. Of the inconvenience of accountability and justice, as these are not always the most efficient approaches, and yet I value accountability and justice, wisdom and liberation more than I value efficiency. What would it really look like if we could grow toward liberation at the speed of care. Can you imagine what it would be like if we could live again like Wataka, singing and dancing with the feeling under our skins, eating when we are hungry and sleeping when we are tired, flowing instead of pushing? I know that I would love to feel like my life is flowing with ease and grace. I have been working hard to decolonize my mind and my body enough to view moving slower as a superpower. For several reasons. Not only is it far less painful in my own body, but it is also one less way I am contributing to grind culture. By not pushing and rushing and causing myself so much pain, I am also making room for others of various speeds and capabilities to be included. One of the key learnings for me this year has been that how I do my work is as important, if not more important, than what I do. Am I grounded in love? Am I wholehearted and balanced? Or am I pushing, rushing, exhausted, and depleted? It is important work, and it is not more important than my health and well-being. When I begin my day with my spiritual and somatic practices, I feel more grounded in my body and centered in my deepest truths of who I am and the gifts that I have to bring into this world. When my actions stem from this grounded and centered place, I am able to live out my truth in this world. And then the service that I offer this congregation and to the world, it flows from this deep well of love. When I go too fast and I try to go do too much, my actions stem from a place of duty and obligation. When I am exhausted, I have less places to access, places of grace and compassion. Instead, I tend to resort to acting from these shameful places of inadequacy, hustling for my worth. An accompaniment to the Rest is Resistance book, Tricia Hersey created something called the Rest Deck, which is an absolutely brilliant deck of cards to remind us, to help us live sustainably and balanced and wholeheartedly. So with daily affirmations from the Rest Deck, I'm trying to remind myself that I am already worthy of divine rest. I don't have to do anything to prove it. I keep reminding myself that I am good enough and that I do enough. Sonia Renee Taylor, Adrienne Marie Brown, Tricia Hersey, Edna O'Danner, Bell Hooks, and other Black women are leading the way. They are deepening and broadening my understandings and helping me to learn and grow. This journal of radical permission has been invaluable in helping me to learn to listen to my body and respond to her wisdom. It has helped to give me permission to allow myself to stop and rest when I am tired, rather than pushing through. Doing so not only feels better in my body and my life, but then I am working to actively dismantle white supremacy culture. It is an act of helping to build the beloved community that grows towards liberation and justice for all at the sustainable speed of care, rather than pushing and pursuing efficiency and productivity at the expense of so much. And yet, how How do we live in this culture and work and help others and care for ourselves and stay rested? Honestly, I don't know. I know that it is too painful for me to keep moving so fast and doing so much. I know that I earnestly desire to dismantle oppressive, patriarchal, capitalist, white supremacist systems in which we are living. I want my daily life and my actions to work toward building this beloved community. And so I remind myself that liberation and oppression cannot inhabit the same space. I think that it's like my meditation practice. Listening in to my body and my breath, responding and trusting, returning again and again, repeatedly to the sensations I feel in my body, returning to my breath again and again and again, trying to listen and heed the wisdom contained therein, trying to let my body be my teacher by actually slowing down and simply resting when I am tired. And I continue to ponder the mysterious question of what it would feel like to let my body be enough, just as it is. And as to the question of what is my soul's calling, well, that has become more clear in recent months. As I've spent the last few months steeped in deep grief over the tragic loss of my beloved dog, Griffin, the primary essence that I have felt above all else is love. He was the epitome of love. He brought a loving presence everywhere he went. I have been held and supported in so much love by so many people over the past few months. The pain of losing him runs so deep because of the enormity of the love that we shared. I want the rest of my life to be a legacy of that love. I aspire to be loving to myself and others, and that all that I do stem from that deep well of love. May we all become the ways in which we contribute to growing culture. May we resist and push back against these systems that harm us all. May we listen to our bodies and make time to slow down and rest. May all of our actions stem from those deep wells of love within each of us. May we explore how to grow together toward liberation at the speed of care. May it be so. May we make it so. And blessed be.
Thank you, Diane. At this time, I invite you all to rise and bow to your spirit. We don't have lyrics for this song. Sorry. And so feel free to, if you know the song, great. Feel free to join me on the chorus. We'll repeat that a couple of times or make up your own words. I don't care. Here we go. I am here. I am whole as I am. I am safe. I am loved as I am. I am grateful and I'm free. I am grateful and I'm free, as perfect as can be. I'm as perfect as song. Got a ways to go, but then we're closer than we've ever been. So let's walk together on and on. I am here. I am here. I am whole as I am. I am safe. I am loved. I am safe. I am loved as I am. Grateful and free. I am grateful and I'm free. Perfect as can be. I'm as perfect as can be. I am here. I am whole as I am. Second verse. I propose a family that looks a lot like you and me, including all the people that we love. Then we'll take a photograph of everybody as they left, put it in a book entitled Us. I am here. I am here. As I am. I am safe. I am safe. I am loved as I am. I am grateful and I'm free and perfect. I'm as perfect as can be. I am here. I am whole as I am. One more part just for me. May seem just like a song, may seem just like a thought, but it soon will take hold, become a truth that's taught for generations, generations, generations. I am here. I am here. I am whole as I am. I am safe. You're safe to do harmonies. I am safe. I am loved as I am. Grateful. I am grateful and I'm free and perfect. I'm as perfect as can be. I am here. I am whole as I am. One more time. I am here. I am whole as I am. Safe. I am safe. I am loved as I am. Grateful and free. You sound amazing. I am grateful and I'm free. I'm as perfect as can be. I am here. I am whole as I am.
As we prepare to leave this place and head back out into the world, may we connect with the deep wells of love within each of our hearts and within our community. May our actions stem from that love, and may we offer ourselves and each other kindness, generosity, compassion, and grace. And as we do this, may we grow toward liberation together and justice for all at the speed of care. Go in peace and go in love.